I've been running for 35 years of my life. Last year, I guess around December or so, I was thinking about I'm turning 50 in 2018, and I was wondering what I could do unique or different in terms of running to kind of celebrate that. I talked to some people, kind of fished the idea, just kind of threw it around and say, hey, what do you think about running 12 marathons in a year? Pretty much everyone I talked to said that's pretty hard because they kind of know me and they know that I'm going to go 110%. And they said, wow, it's going to be tough to do that and not get hurt. And as soon as I heard comments like that, I was more convinced that that was something I wanted to do. The first marathon that I'd put on my list to do this year was a Houston Marathon. And I decided I would take a look at the trail, see what these runners are up against. It's not a highly technical trail, but a little more technical than I want to be running, but looks pretty cool. Check this out. Comes the runner now. Good job, man. Looking good. When we got there, race day comes. And actually I roomed that night with some of the RRC Dallas members, and most of them hail from Mexico, which is really, really cool. The last little shakeout run for the marathon tomorrow. Last time I was here, the place was all flooded out. It's just a testament to Houston Strong. Look forward to representing Rockwall tomorrow and the real deal. So race day, we kind of had a plan to meet up prior to the race at the convention center, and had people in different areas. I didn't see many of the members, but I saw Tina Waynick there and some other folks before the start of the race, and so we were heading to the starting corral, and I remember talking to Chris Pungnam and telling him about my strained ligaments in my toe, which had been bothering me for months and months and months. So he asked me how was that going prior to the race, and I remember telling him distinctively, well, I have 9 toes. And as long as I have 9 toes, I should be good to go. The Mexican food that I had eaten the night before wasn't sitting too well with me. So right before the race gun went off, I was visiting the porta potty so that I could, make a last minute deposit before the run started. And unfortunately, I was still in that porta potty when the race started, so I had to try to chase down people that I was trying to run with. So it was a good event, and I wanted to really start the year off running under 3 hours, so I was able to run 2:58 there. And so I was pretty elated that, hey, I broke through that barrier, and now I know it's possible, one down, and now I can start getting ready for the next one, which was going to be in Phoenix.
Too short, up all night, baby. Yeah, I've been up to 16.
The second one on my list was in Phoenix Marathon, and that was in February 24th. I'd run the half there the prior year. It was a really good event. I thought it was really neat, so I wanted to take that on. I'm outside of Diamond Jacks, but ain't no luck included. Only hard work. Just finished 12-mile progression cut down run, every 3 miles, 30 seconds faster. Finished up with marathon pace. I was able to nail it, so feeling good. Progress in the process. It was a Saturday event, so that meant I had to fly in on Friday, a one-day turnaround. We had about 3 hours sleep. Didn't get into sleep till probably about 3:30. So I let my body rest until it was ready to get up, which is like now. There were several of the Rockwall Running Club members that were running there, the pavement pounders, and so it was good. I got to see them pre and post race. It's a pretty good race. Again, it was 35, 40 degrees or so. It's pretty chilly, Good course, mainly downhill, except for miles 6 and 7. You have a pretty long uphill stretch there, about 2 miles worth. Just knocked out marathon number 2, 2 of 12. It's pretty good out here in Phoenix. I didn't quite hit my goal, but I ran hard and I went after the first part of it, so that's what it's all about. Have fun. My last race as a 49-year-old, and after that I turned 50 and game on. To all you out there getting it in today, keep grinding. Don't listen to the haters. You work and do what you gotta do. It's all about you. You only got one life to live. Live and love big. Third event was Atlanta Marathon, and I wanted to spread these things out and go different regions, different parts of the country. And I don't have a goal or objective to run marathons in every state or anything like that. But I figured that if I do, I at least can get Georgia knocked off the list. And I knew the Atlanta Marathon was a very hilly course, hilly terrain, had over 40 turns in it, so it would be a challenge. And I've never been one to shy away from challenges, so I definitely want to do that. And so I was flying from Minneapolis to Atlanta, and somehow in the line, security line, the drug dog got a hit on me, and I was kind of worried because I was standing in line behind some guys or around some guys who looked like not too, little savory characters. So I'm wondering, well, man, did they put something in my luggage, in my bag, stick something in my coat pocket? I had some armed security guards around me, and they were like, "Oh, this dog never makes mistakes. We got us one today." They took all my books. I carried a lot of books with me. They went through every page in my book, shaking them, all my notebooks. They emptied everything inside and out. And I'm like, hey, I have a plane to catch. And they're like, well, we'll get you out quickly. And well, they didn't get me out quickly. And I ended up booking another flight. They never gave me an answer as to why the dog hit on me. They never gave me an explanation or an apology on the fact that I missed my flight.
Marathon a month.
Wow.
So this is March. What's next month? Going to Boston with a team. So.
Come on.
And so far, what has been your favorite? No pressure. Georgia, no doubt.
Come on.
So the race goes. I had some family members there, friends and family that came down from Charlotte to watch the race, which is great. One of my favorite cousins was there and her family, which is great too. Don't get mad at me if you're not think you're a favorite cousin. I call all my cousins favorite cousins. So it's the first time I was trying out my new Nike Vaporfly shoes. I called them the Game Changers. I just felt really good with those on. Good experience. I was really pumped up. Third race of the year. Again, another sub 3 hour marathon. So I'm thinking, okay, well, my goal is going to change. I'm not just going to run a marathon a month. I'm going to run a marathon a month, and I'm going to run under 3 hours each one of them. As my good friend Barrett would say, first quarter. 3 more to do. So far, all sub 3. Got support of my club, my family, my loved ones, my friends. With some RSC members. And we're going to ride the course here today. And you can see there's some snow. Of course, we got some slow people. They're not even out of the car yet. Let me see who's in here. There's Nicole, Machina. This was my 5th consecutive Boston, and I've been going there for 5 years with the Rock Running Club teams as a group, and it's always exciting because we're like a family. We're a big family there. I think we're 12, 13 runners strong. It just happened to be the worst Boston weather in the 120 plus years of Boston marathons, and it was tough conditions. In fact, many of the elite runners, top runners, dropped out and didn't finish. The slowest Boston times in the last 3 decades as a result of that. And I got to run most of the race with my buddy, my brother from another mother, Jim Patoric. But we were like 2 soldiers, man. We were having our heads down, we were digging, and we were pushing. I just got so cold, I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't feel the ground as my feet were striking the ground. I didn't even know if I was making any ground, if I was moving, or if I was going to topple over or not. And when I got around mile 22, 23, I just couldn't move. So I just started walking a little bit. So then Jim caught up, passed me by again, and shouted some encouragement, said, "Come on, man, we got this." But I literally couldn't feel my legs. And that's not just a metaphor. I had no feeling from mile 16 till mile 24. It's a couple days, maybe 3 after the marathon in Boston. It was terrible, lots of rain. Now in Milwaukee, lots of snow. So after Boston, doing some training, getting ready for Mississauga, Canada marathon, which was the number 5 on my list. And during a training session, I felt a pull in my left calf muscle. I couldn't do any speed work because my calf was just couldn't go. Couldn't get any balance, any spring. So my method to get through it was I started putting on 2 calf sleeves on each leg, on my bad leg, so that I could get at least an extra compression to keep the calf going, so I could maybe make it for 26 miles. And race day, I decided I'm going to wear 2 calf sleeves on both legs just so they're even. And so if I cut off circulation in one foot, I'll at least cut off circulation in both feet. So I get to Mississauga at about 3:30 p.m. On the night before the race. The race is 6 a.m. the next morning. The expo packet pickup closed at 4:30, so I had about an hour to get there, grab my packet. Next day, the race starts. I'm off to a good start with my double calf sleeves. I'm feeling pretty good about it. But I didn't know if I could go. I hadn't done any speed work in 2 weeks. And around mile 12, I felt a twinge in my calf. And I'm thinking, oh man, this might be it. And when I got around mile 22, 23, I realized I still had a chance to break 3 hours. I had to go pretty fast, pretty hard. And that's on top of my one leg hopping and my bathroom stopping. But I figured I'm gonna push and give it all I got and try. And I'm telling you, it was just grit and spit, and I was just making faces, and I was really in literally a lot of pain pushing through that. And I ended up hitting the tape at 3 hours and 25 seconds. I said, wow, that's close enough for me. I'll take it. I had some serious stiffness and tightness in my piriformis, and 5 days later, I was scheduled to run the Grandma's Marathon, which ironically was marathon number 6. Nice run this morning in the snow. No shorts ever. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we got to deal with in Minneapolis. Love it. Varner was coming to run, and of course, Nikki runs it every year with her mom and family and sister comes up. So it was good that I knew I was going to get to see some familiar faces at this event, which gave me something to look forward to. The night before the race, Jim and we roomed together, and I just remember him making comments on the fact that I'm sitting on the heater in the room just to get enough heat to heat up my piriformis so I could walk. And he's like, I don't know how you gonna run the race tomorrow. And so I started out good in the race. I was giving all I could. And I think it was probably around mile 14 or 15, that piriformis got tight and I could just hang on and do what I could. And that was like a 3 hour and 21 minute marathon. And the times doesn't matter, but I'm thinking, well, that's probably the worst I can do. It was one of the toughest that I had all year. But 6 down, 6 to go. Very blessed to be doing this.
From the East? Are you from the East?
South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Well, the last Rebel race I'd run, I had problems with a big blister on my foot, and struggled and finished, but I really jacked up my calves after that. And so this one, I said, no big deal. I'm gonna tackle this one. I'm ready for it, and I'm running this race. I'm doing really well. I'm sitting in about 12th or 14th place. So I'm running, and I felt like I had a rock in my shoe. I felt that feeling before, and that rock turned into be a blister the size of the bottom of my foot. And it just happened to be on the foot that has the strained toe ligaments. And by the time I got to mile 18, I literally could no longer run. I could no longer push off of that foot. I could no longer even do a stride. And so I got into a walking mode with tears streaming down my eyes. I said, well, no matter what happens, I'm gonna keep moving until I finish. Even if I can't run anymore, I'm gonna keep moving until I finish. I got to that mile 25 and I ran about, 20 feet. I'm not even gonna say 20 yards. I ran about 20 feet and I had to stop and start back walking. And when I got a quarter mile from the finish, I decided, well, I think I can jog this in. So I jogged across, and that put an end to marathon number 7. So second time, one of these rebel runs, I tore the bottom of my foot, but it is what it is. I didn't meet my goal, so I got to keep back working, fix this little blister problem, and then I'll be back at it. I coughed up blood, and I'm thinking, okay, that can't be a good sign. I had a debate with the doctor, so is this a problem? And he told me this could be life-threatening. So they did an MRI. They said, we think you have a pulmonary embolism.
My brother was in the hospital due to an embolism, which is a blood clot. And it looked like he shouldn't be running or traveling to Alaska.
So I go home that Monday. I was released after only 12 hours instead of a couple of days. And that to me was a victory, so I'm on the right side of where I wanted to be. I got home that Tuesday. I decided to ride my hybrid road bike for 26 miles. And I was able to get an appointment with a specialist on Thursday. Met this doctor and we're having a consultation. And then his advice was, whatever you had or potentially had, it's passed through now, so you're obviously managing it well. For that, I wanted to hug and kiss the guy. And then he said, just get back to your normal activity. Once again, I'm thinking, well, he doesn't know my normal activity, but normal means to me, I can go run my marathon on Sunday, and I'm ready to go do it. Shakeout run. Thought I'd share a little bit of this beauty that I get to experience tomorrow when I run this thing. My sister, she joined me. She signed up for her second 5K, which I thought was really cool. So I'm in the race, and everything's going well. I start out well. I settle in. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just happy just to be there and just be taking it all in. And around mile 5 in the race, something that never happened to me before, and I had been warned by the race directors, watch out for wildlife. Here comes a full-grown male moose. Hey! And I'm thinking, okay, let me watch this guy, see what he does, and make sure I leave him for the people that are behind me, because I don't want any trouble with this moose. The race went well. I continued to finish, but it was a struggle because I was tired, but I didn't care. I just wanted to finish, and ended up placing pretty high. I think I was 17th overall. I even walked some during the last mile just because my toe hurt, my foot hurt, I was tired, and I just wanted to just get through it. But when I finished up, I just had another, as I usually do, happy dance at the end of that race, and I was really thankful. Well, I almost feel like an episode of Big Brother when I do this little race recap here. First, I want to give thanks and honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And marathon number 9 was I scheduled to go to Seattle, run the Tunnel Light marathons, And that's kind of unique. You run 2.5 miles at the beginning of the race in an old railroad tunnel, which is totally dark. Totally dark. So everyone's wearing headlights and headlamps and those type of things. And you run down and around in the mountain ranges. So I'm running on the rocks, and I'm like, ooh, ouch. I mean, it hurt like crazy. I ran pretty strong, finished good. All right, get my last little shakeout run before marathon number 10 that we get in. Been running with my brother from another mother, Jim Platoric, and about 45,000 other running friends. So we're looking forward to doing what we do. Famed Chicago Marathon, and I had another 13 members from the Rockwall Running Club coming up to also participate in that. The Jim, as he was making an attempt to qualify for the Berlin Marathon. Again, we get rain at the start of that race, and Jim and I are running together. We're pushing, we're going, and mentally, I just didn't have it. And my goal was to get him going, but once I knew I couldn't go with him, I had no focus. He was able to push on through. I was representing also the Red Cross in that adventure. It was my first time doing a fundraiser, and it was great. I was able to, to really be a part of that. They made you feel like a VIP. I didn't have my mental focus there, and all I could do was issue apologies to them, a tear-felt apology. Okay, coming to you live from Chicago Marathon. This month's recap is taking place in Porta Potty, the driest, warmest place I could find. So this was an awesome effort here, the 10th marathon of the year, 30th overall, taking me a lot of places. I didn't think I'd ever run one marathon, so I'm really blessed about that. I'm dedicating this race to one, Tina Waynick, she knows why, and my sister, Kendra, she knows why also. You guys keep your head up, it's only going to get better. I found another race the next week, the very next week, in the Los Angeles area, and there was another Revel run. It's another one of those runs. And I'm thinking, I've done 2 of these Revel runs, 2 blisters on my foot. I just ran Chicago. I had less than 7 days, and I'm gonna go run another one. Game on. So the race was awesome. I was super focused. I ran very conservative at the beginning because I still had a little tiredness from Chicago. I literally realized why I did this race and why I signed up for this race. And for the first time in this journey, the second half of this race, I started running angrily and ran negative splits, obviously, and finished very strong in another 251 marathon. So I'm thinking, okay, I haven't totally lost it, and that felt really good. It was a bonus marathon, so that was number 11 now, and I'm in October, which meant that number 12 was going to get to be in Charlotte, which is what I consider hometown. Get down to Charlotte, and pretty uneventful. Meet with family. This was great. I got my son out of bed early. He doesn't get out of bed early, so he gets up and he actually went back in his car and fell asleep and didn't see the finish of the race, but at least saw the start. And my aunt, who I grew up with, Sandra, was there, and my cousin, who I grew up with, Karen, was there.
Across the Caldwell Bridge here in Charlotte, North Carolina. You see my shadow there. I'm on a scooter.
The CIM, California International Marathon, and in Sacramento, California. I was able to spend some time with the Maheswaris out there, and I hadn't seen them in 4 years, so that was great. Right, Porta Potty podcast, they're back. Do I look smarter with these glasses? I don't know, hopefully I do. But I just want to say again, thanks to the good Lord above for giving me the ability to participate in this stuff, this extracurricular activity. This was marathon number 13 of 2018. Yeah, I said I was going to do 12, but I stopped there. I had a pretty lofty goal, a time goal. I actually didn't hit it, but that's okay. Ran pretty hard, pretty steady, pretty smart, and record the stuff that I learned throughout the process. So I'm very, very thrilled with that. Another sub 3-hour marathon, so not bad. Celebrate 50 years of life, bringing all that together with over 40,000 miles traveled, 12 states visited, 2 countries, and just loads of friends and family. And I was blessed here today. I was just thinking on the way to the starting line that the people that I kind of Coach Barrett trained here participating. I have a guy from England, I have a young lady from India, I have a young lady from the Philippines, I have a young man from Egypt, and me, just a country boy from North Carolina, all representing, doing something that we love, coming together for a great cause and benefiting ourselves and hopefully inspiring some others. So now I got 13 in the books. I ran fairly fast there, fairly decent, 2:57, and now I know I got one more race in me. I consider myself a running Sherpa. I've now done close to 40 marathons, and almost half of those have been to run or to aid someone else, and I like it that way. And all I can say is, I'm Barrett Hopper, and I completed 14 marathons to celebrate my 50th year of life.
And as you always say, you don't have to be the most talented, smartest, or fastest. You just have to be committed.
Barrett, you are an inspiration to me, and I could not be more grateful that your journey last year led you to me. No distance could separate us, and our souls connected during this very marathon journey and long before we met.
Woo!
Thank you for being a role model to Dylan, and it is so amazing to hear that your son Brian is now talking about wanting to run a marathon one day. That is inspiration right there. I'm so proud that you are my best friend, that we chose each other, and I'm so proud to be your wife.
Hashtag one team!
So grateful to get to be a part of your family, and enjoyed my running life because you're a part of it. Thank you again for everything, and look forward to many more journeys with you.
2018 was a tough year. I had 4 surgeries and was unable to walk without assistance for 4 months, and you running one of your races dedicated to me. I followed you every step of the way, and I can't thank you enough.
North Carolina White, where you have this skinny kid that's running, got a desire to go to college, but did not receive a scholarship, did not have funds to pay for it. Got the UNCC, actually walked on to the cross-country team. I'm not sure how much you earned in that, but he earned his spot. From there, he excelled academically in college and began to show magnificent glimpses of a person who was going to be great. And let me give you an example of what that looks like. I would travel to some track meets and record. This one particular track meet, he was in last place. And as he came around that last turn, you know, it didn't look good. And he was just moving and moving, and all of a sudden he got this second wind and pretty much passed up the entire heat. And so you could hear me in a voiceover on the video yelling, "Go, go, go, go." Anyway, that was pretty exciting. I'm pretty sure he still has that footage. From there, he graduated. We were roommates in college. And one summer, we stayed in a dilapidated house. because the option was either you go home or you can stay in summer school, maybe earn more credits and work. You could always go home and stay in your comfortable house with your mom and dad. And that was my case. On Barrett's side, I didn't really see a father figure. And that's another thing. You have this guy who's accomplished in all these things, but he's not making excuses from where he came from. And so we stayed in this dilapidated house because we was determined that we was going to work that summer and stay in school and get one more step towards graduation. After graduation, he went into chemistry, working in various companies. But one thing that stood out to me was there was one incident where he was in between jobs, and he was pretty much a few days from being homeless. I didn't know this until after the fact. He told me that the job interview that he went on, the hotel they put him up with, he would stash food up during the day for his meal at night. But the rest is history. Got on and showed himself successful.
Well, when Coach Barrett came back and told us that he was planning to run 14 marathons in a year, it surprised all of us. It surprised the Rockwell community. Because we don't know Coach Barrett quite well here, and why he would want to do that was a mystery to us. But he did it. He had his reasons, and he did it. And the thing that really stood out with his experience was his commitment. He pushed through to make these marathons. He had a few injuries along the way, but that did not slow him down. There was one marathon he ran, and all of us here in the Rockwell community, we were worried about him. We were worried whether he was going to make it or not. We were worried about whether he was going to make it alive, which is even scarier, because when you run a marathon, it assumes that you're going to be alive at the end. But Coach Barrett did it, so just remarkable.
I always known, just growing up with my brother, that there's nothing that you can't put your mind to and then just do it. So it didn't shock me, or it didn't even come at a surprise that he not only stated that he was going to do the 14 marathons, but he completed it. I happened to be there along the way. One that really comes to mind is when we were in Alaska. Maybe a week prior, my brother was in a hospital due to an embolism, which is a blood clot. And it looked like he shouldn't be running or traveling to Alaska. I remember just calling our mother, who's like prayer partner from heaven. So it's just great to have a powerful praying mother. And the next thing you know, he was at the hospital and he said, I'm running Alaska. So Alaska would have been my second 5K. So just imagine, what that run would have felt like, as I'm thinking about my brother and thinking about like trying to run my race, right? But of course my focus was on him. When I finished my race, because the marathon runners had already began theirs, I had two choices: to be at the finish line or go to the emergency place that they have. And I said, no, I'm gonna stand at the finish line. He's gonna finish strong. And when he came through that finish line, oh, Lord have mercy. He was screaming and yelling because they told him that he wouldn't be able to do it, and he did it.
So, just a little background. Barrett and I have run together, I'll say, for quite a while. Ironically, our houses backed up, our backyards backed up to each other, and we didn't even know each other. We'd see each other out running. So because of that, I'm actually doing this after finishing my Saturday run. Hence the swag. Barrett had announced to me that he was going to do his 50th birthday celebration. In order to do so, he was going to do 12 marathons during his 50th year. When I first heard this, I thought he was crazy. Then I thought about it. I knew it was doable. And I definitely knew that it was doable for Barrett. And I say that because I've run 6 Bostons with him, helped each other across the finish line one year, him to the med tent, and we've run multiple miles. He encouraged me. He was with me when I did my first 50-mile week, 60-mile week, 70-mile week, and 80-mile week. And that's what Barrett does. He encourages, and he was using this as an encouragement. He's the type of guy that would give you the shirt off his back. So back to the marathons. I was fortunate enough to run Boston and Chicago with him last year. I was also able to see him at Grandma's and take a few pictures and be a cheerleader for him and the group that went, including my wife. Barrett has a job similar to mine, so I understand the stress and the level of commitment it takes to be able to continue to run. We travel every week. We're in different hotels in different cities. Very much hard to create a routine. Barrett finds a way to run. He gets it done. He had done 3,000 miles a year before, which encouraged me to do 3,000 miles last year. He is, as he went through this journey, he went through travel issues. He got stuck in New York or Philly once. He had a blood clot along the way. I remember him calling me one night, and I encouraged him to go to the hospital, and they immediately put him on blood thinners. He has, this wasn't an easy journey, and what's even more impressive is along this journey was that he did this with a lot of adversity along the way, and not only that, he did it with extremely difficult times to make. Chicago, for example, he and I started together. Unfortunately, we didn't finish together. But the next week, he went and took 20 minutes off his time, and I believe ran a 2:51. And a 2:51, your 11th marathon in 10 months, is amazing. Very few people can do that. And Barrett's done this over a tremendous amount of years. He was in the Olympic trials. He's worked his way, and at 50 plus years old, he's still competing at an elite level. So that said, my hat's off to Barrett. Respect him. Love him as a brother, and he is an amazing athlete. And I know he'll do something even more impressive when he turns 75.
Just the impressiveness of going out there running sub-3 marathons. I run 2 to 3 marathons a year, and just the level of intensity for me, just by doing that, is really high. So I certainly can't imagine 14 marathons that he went through. But I think part of his philosophy and part of what I've taken from that is that a lot of your limits certainly can be expanded, and they can be expanded through some of the mental training, some of the consistent mileage. Part of what I tell the guys here at RRC Dallas is that we may not be the most talented, we may not be the most gifted athletes, but we're certainly going to outwork you, and we're certainly going to put in the mileage. It's not uncommon for our runners to be running 80, 90, 100 miles a week. So that's the philosophy that Coach Barrett has instilled in me, that I try to instill in others even to this day. And I guess if I took something away from that experience, it would be that part of the gift is to show people that you can push your limits, you can push what you think is possible and make it into a reality. that is certainly impactful.
When he mentioned it to us, I really didn't doubt him one bit. Barrett is very well known to follow through with whatever he says he's going to do or what he wants to do. So of course he had my full support, and I knew it was something that he would absolutely accomplish. I know it wasn't easy for him. He, was very honest and sometimes about how he felt, and it was a struggle to get back out there and do one within 30 days. And I believe there was some months that he did it 2. So he's always inspired us and continues to inspire us. And I am happy that he made it through and accomplished so many goals in that year of his 50th birthday. So anyway, keep it up, Barrett. Keep shining. Keep showing us what you're made of, and showing the world that you don't stop and you don't give up when you put your mind to something.